Lennon's death was mourned throughout the world today. Greg Dobbs has a report now on reaction in Europe, beginning in the town where John Lennon, and the Beatles were born.
Penny Lane is in my ears and in my eyes.
Here in Liverpool, John Lennon's lyrics immortalized Penny Lane and Strawberry Fields.
Strawberry fields forever.
Here in Liverpool, which the Beatles put on the map, the loss of Lennon, some say, is like the loss of a member of the family.
He was a genius, he was a humorist. He had a lot to give.
I mean, John was my favourite. I mean, I've always liked John because he was a rebel.
We could talk to him, he could always give us a good answer and everything, have a joke and everything. Yeah, we used to go there. We used to go for a drink there.
There was Here, a parking lot today, but 20 years ago this month, a basement bar called The Cavern. John will never amount to anything, one of his teachers thought at the time. Another said John spent his time thieving, pinching apples, shoplifting, and pulling girls' knickers down. But he did straighten out.
What kind of a guy was he? As a person, not as a musician, just as a man.
Very, very straight. To me, he always spoke the truth, whether you liked it or not. You got it. And I honestly believe that we would, John would be famous today if there was no Beatles. He would have made it on his own.
Today, here in Liverpool and all over Europe, Lennon's new record, just released after 7 years of silence, was selling out. He made it on his own, on top of a 250 million Beatles records sold. Of his old partners, 2 live here in England. Secluded today in his rural mansion, George Harrison was said to be in a state of shock. Paul McCartney, though, went to a recording studio in London saying work is the best tonic. But it didn't seem to be enough.
I was very shocked, It's terrible news. Drag, isn't it?
Through the day, British television in Liverpool and elsewhere ran interviews and eulogies on John Lennon. One of them from the man who produced the Beatles' best records, George Martin.
By the standards of great musicians, he wasn't a great musician, but he was a great man. I mean, he was one of the originals of this century. No question about it.
One young Beatles fan here said this morning, they can kill John Lennon, but they can never, never kill his music. The pride of Liverpool is still very much alive. Greg Dobbs, ABC News on Penny Lane in Liverpool, England.